Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and working through the game according to me, my weekly podcast where I talk about what's going on in college and in pro football. And in doing this type of area where the NBA is getting started, we're going to talk about the NBA. I got my NBA season 2025-26 predictions for you. And of course, we're on the way to the World Series. We'll talk about what went down in the NLCS. All good stuff. But first, let's go ahead and go back to the NBA. Let's start, and let me give you my predictions for the NBA 2025-26 season. Okay, so I don't go too in depth here. Um, I kind of just give you like who's going to win what awards, who's going to make the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, the NBA Finals, and who's going to be the champion. Okay, so let's start off with the Western Conference Finals. I have the Houston Rockets defeating the Denver Nuggets 4-2. I believe the addition to Kevin Durant would be a tremendous one. They were able to get Kevin Durant without giving up Alfred Sengun and Jabari Smith. And now, when you think about it, they are playing this humongous lineup where the Armin Thompson is playing point guard at 6'7", and then they have 6'11", the 6'11" wings of Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, and Alfred Sengun, and then Steven Adams is your center. So and it's I think that's going to be a tough thing, and I think all those three guys in the wings, Durant, Smith Jr. and Sengun, they are athletic enough to be able to guard all of the smaller guys who they're going to be guarding. And I think that's they did lose last night to the defending world champion Oklahoma City Thunder, but it took two overtimes to do it. So and Kevin Durant falling out. So I think the Rockets are going to be good. I think the Nuggets are going to come back. They're going to jump back up, and they're going to be a big star this year. So I'm at the Nuggets. Um, in the Western Conference Finals as well. The Rockets will win 4-2. And then Eastern Conference Finals. The East is wide open with Tyrese Halliburton being out with a torn Achilles for the entire season. With Jason Tatum more than likely being out the whole season. There are some people, and I think Jason's trying to say he can come back some point in the season, maybe make the playoffs. That would be very interesting. Um, but with those two out, with Damian Lillard back in Portland, and Milwaukee is a thing. There's a lot of teams that can do it. There's the Orlando Magic, who's an up and coming team. They're gonna have some shots, I believe. The Pistons, who came back and made the playoffs last year, they could shock the world. I think even a team like my Bulls, if my Bulls can ever get their shit together, they could do some damage as well. Um, and I know that's feel like what Bulls fans are like, what really? Are you stupid? But who knows? You never know. You never know if Matis can be who Matis wants to be. This could end up being tremendous. But I just said I kind of went chalk here. I got the Cavaliers who are still intact. They got all their guys from last year. Still got a great coach. Everybody came back. They got to deal with Darius Garland, his injury, so he'll be sidelined at the beginning of the season. But I think the Cavaliers are still going to be the top of the conference. And I guess the New York Knicks, who only thing they really did was they got rid of Tibbs. And they hired Mike Brown. I think the Knicks are going to, do that as well. So I kind of went chalk there. But I had the Cavaliers beating the Knicks, 7-game series, 4-3. Meaning the NBA Finals will be the Houston Rockets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, Probably one that once again the ABC probably is not gonna want, as a thing because it's not really the major markets. Although Houston is a major market, but still, it's gonna be if to get the major ratings, it's probably gonna be New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston. That's just kind of how it is. But who cares? It's going to be the Rockets and Cleveland, and I have the Rockets winning the NBA Finals 4-1. The NBA champion will be the Houston Rockets. The Finals MVP will be, of course, none other than Kevin Durant. He will step up and do his damn thing, um, and he'll take home the Bill Russell trophy for the most valuable player in the NBA Finals. So there you have it there. So that's for the major. That's for like the playoffs and everything like that. Now for the season, what else do we have here? The most valuable player, I'm going with Nikola Jokic. I think he's the best player in the league. I think they've gone ahead and done their little things like they did with Jordan. One year they gave it to Charles, and one year they gave it to Malone. But Michael was, of course, obviously the MVP. The best player in the league and most valuable to his team. I think it's been like that with Jokic the past years. Jokic has been the most valuable player, in the league, but one year they gave it to, Joel Embiid because, pretty much, they played the race cards, including Kendrick Perkins, they played the race card, and Jokic didn't want none of that, so they gave it to, Joel Embiid, and last year they gave it this, J. Gilgeous Alexander. So I think this year they're gonna go back and continue to go back and thing and give it back to Nikola Jokic. The defensive player of the year, I think it's Victor Wembanyama. If he stays healthy, I think it's obviously him. At 7'4", he's going to block all of the shots. He's going to be a defensive force on the other side, and he's gonna be great offensively, I think as well. But I think that this is like one of those things where it was like Mutombo every year and like Ben Wallace every year. Just because that's who it was. I think this year, I don't think the defensive player of the year is going to continue to always be Victor Wembanyama when healthy. Probably for the rest of his career. The most improved player, I'm actually going off the board here. And I'm going Michael Porter Jr. There was a trade this season, and one reason why I am really high on the Nuggets as well. They made a trade with Brooklyn to bring in Cameron Jordan, a guy who is probably more athletic, um, so like that, and can still shoot the three, just like Michael Porter Jr. He's a little bit shorter. He's like only 6'8". Michael Porter is 6'10", 6'11". But I think there's gonna be a better fit for the Nuggets. And Michael Porter's gonna go to Brooklyn, where he's gonna be the star. He's going to be a star. I know they got Cam Thomas and something like that, some very young players there, but I think he's going to jump up and he's going to be a 25, 26, 27 point score, per game scorer there in Brooklyn. So I think he will be the most improved player. Coach of the year is Kenny Atkinson of the Cavaliers. I think he wins it. He's gonna probably have the Cavaliers #1 seed again. I think big thing. So that's why I have Kenny Atkinson winning Coach of the Year. The sixth man of the year, I'm going with Nas Reed of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think um, he's going to have a great year. He has improved each and every year that he is, came into the league. And I think he's going to be if the Timberwolves want to, make my make my predictions wrong, he's going to be a big part of that. And not only with the growth of Anthony Edwards, it's going to be, Julius Randle being consistent, Rudy Gobert going back to his defensive player of the year ways, and off the bench with Nas Reed and Mike Conley in the board. So I think Nas Reed, sixth man of the year, rookie of the year, chalk Cooper Flag. It just should be. Usually, the rookie of the year, and when it comes to the NBA, the rookie of the year is who we all think it is. It's never someone off the board, someone who comes out of nowhere. It's always the like the the number one or number two pick or whatever. So it's Cooper Flag, Rookie of the Year. And the clutch player of the year, I'm going with the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson. I think he will be the clutch player of the year. If the Knicks are going to be where they go, it's going to be him taking them there and hitting big time shots. So Brunson of the New York Knicks is the clutch player of the year. So there you guys have it. That is my NBA season 25-26 predictions. I hope you guys liked it. So now we're gonna talk a little baseball and talk about what we're down in the LCSs and previews the World Series. So Major League Baseball playoffs. When it came to the NL, it was a quick and easy sweep, 4-game sweep for the Dodgers. Just truly amazing. And then the game four, what Shohei did was incredible. To pitch six in the third inning, strike out 10, and shut out the Milwaukee Brewers was great enough. But then to, as a hitter, hit 3 home runs, including one where he hit out of Dodger Stadium. It's just unreal what he did. He had the greatest performance we've ever seen in baseball history. Truly amazing. And I think he's kind of cemented his legacy as probably the greatest baseball player there ever has been. And I know it's very early to say that I don't think he's even been around 10 years. Maybe he has. Who knows? But it's amazing that what he has done, and the fact that he could come over here and do it and be great at both, just absolutely floors me each and every time. So good on Shohei and the Dodgers. They're in the World Series, and the ALCS was a little bit more competitive. It went to a game seven, including a home run from George Springer in Game Seven to put them with a 4-3 lead, I believe, and then that's what kind of ended. It ended there, and it was just truly mind blowing. From the Blue Jays going back to the World Series, the first time since the 92, 93 series, no, or no, 92, the 92 series, or the 93 series, something like that. It's been a long fucking time. Let's just keep it real. It's been a long time since the Blue Jays are back there, and they have the home field advantage. So they will be Friday. Game one will be in Toronto. Um, at the World Series. Now, it's kind of interesting because we're going across the country, truly, because the Dodgers are in the southwest, the Toronto's kind of northeast type of thing. So, it's good. It's good. It's good they didn't change their thing like NBA. NBA you should like baseball does 2-3-2. NBA went to 2-3-2 because in the '80s it seemed to be it was always Boston and the Lakers, or the Lakers and Philly, something like that. So they think that it was like trying to you know help the players out by just not having to go fly back and forth. Now they changed it, so it is like a 2-2-1-1-1 series type of thing. But in baseball still does 2-3-2. So even though the Blue Jays have the World Series, there's a 3 games there in the middle: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will all be in LA. While Friday and Saturday, games 1 and 2 will be in Toronto, and then games 6 and 7 will be October 31st and November 1st, if necessary. And that's the thing: will this be necessary? Because the Dodgers they're a juggernaut, and they can pitch the hell out of the ball. They're starting pitchers, and you know they've got. And listen, here's what they can do because they pitched Shohei on Friday, and they could let him rest and pitch him again on to start the series on a Friday. And I think that's what you want to do because you would want to. I think what you would want to do is you would want to have him have the opportunity for him to go 3 times, pitch 3 times in the series. Game 1, Game 4, Game 7. That's maybe you'd want to do. Sometimes people do it differently. Sometimes they want, you know, this is what you would want to do is you would want to pitch Game 1 and he pitch Game 5, and then if necessary he would, come back. You could bring him back in Game 7, like in the middle or something like that, for middle relief or something, or whatever it is. So we'll have to see, but what this is about the Dodgers starting pitching and the Blue Jays hitting. If the Blue Jays have been hitting the tar of the ball. If they can hit Dodgers pitching, they have an absolute shot to win this one. But if they end up like the Brewers, where they just get shut out basically in each and every game, let's go back here real quick. Let's go back to the Brewers series. Let's see. Game 1, Brewers scored one run. Game 2, Brewers scored 1 run. Game 3, Brewers scored 1 run. And Game 4, Brewers scored 1 run. We had 8 innings from Blake Snell. We had a complete game masterpiece by Yakamoto. And then of course we talked about what Cahill did in Game 4. So it's all about their starting pitching. If you can touch their pitching, the Blue Jays can touch Dodgers starting pitchers, they have an absolute chance to win this series. If they don't, then it's going to be all Dodgers, and Dodgers are going to go away in 4, maybe 5 games. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not making a prediction. Um, but it's going to be some interesting things. I will be checking in on it from time to time. And next week, around this time, we'll come back to this and see where we're at. Are we at a 4-game sweep for one of these 2 games? Are we heading to a Game 5? You know, looking ahead, we will wait and see. But should be very interesting. Happy for all of the Blue Jays fans. Not really happy for the Dodgers fans, but man, it's interesting. It's just tremendous to see what Shohei Ohtani is doing. It's absolutely insane. So, all right. So we've done our NBA predictions. We talked about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Now let's get to why we are normally here, and that's football. And as always, we start with the college. All right, to the college games. Let's look back at what went down in Week 8. We had on Friday unbeaten Miami falling to the Louisville Cardinals 24-21. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions, causing the loss to the Louisville Cardinals. On Saturday, LSU took a beating from Vanderbilt 31-24. But now calls for Brian Kelly's job seem to be imminent. And he still has Oklahoma. LSU still has Oklahoma on the schedule. Still has Alabama on their schedule. Added up in 2 losses, seemingly out of the playoff picture, and 3 losses would surely put them out. Will Brian Kelly, be able to keep his job at LSU? I'll say this for Brian Kelly. Some people don't like Brian Kelly because they think he's a little bit too whatever, he's too abrasive or whatever. And I can see that. I would say I would thank Brian Kelly because when he went to Notre Dame, he put Notre Dame back on the map. Notre Dame was an afterthought. We had a little bit here with 1 year with Tyrone Willingham. We had we had that, and then we had a couple years of Charlie Weiss with Brady Quinn, Maurice Stovall, and Justin Marzer. You know, a couple years there it was good, but still it wasn't anything. But when you bring in uh, you know Brian Kelly, he kind of changed the culture, and he was able to bring in some talent. He was able to get those talent. Notre Dame, uh, Notre Dame, I think like Northwestern, like Duke, like Stanford, they have a little bit more of a higher academic standard than other ones. If you're a great player, but you maybe have like a 1 point something GPA, which means you can graduate, but like that, it's Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, they does want you because you're the great athlete. Notre Dame and again Northwestern, Stanford, Duke, that's not necessarily who they want to. They want to get the good athlete, but also the one that has like a 3.1 GPA. Something like that, some academics, some other things that it's not about football, it's about the whole academics. So, and sometimes there are plenty of athletes out there with that standard that just go to other places. So, but Brian Kelly was seemingly able to get those type of athletes. Now there were also times where he couldn't get it done right. There was one point where like he couldn't when he went to the national championship game in Alabama, you could see that it was just outclassed. He didn't have the guys up front. He had a talented defense, but he didn't have the guys up front, offensively or defensively, to hang with an Alabama. So then when you started to get those guys that could up front hang with the guys of Alabama and in the SEC and all the top teams, he didn't have the skill positions players with the speed. Then it then became about speed, and he didn't have the guys at their speed or anything like that, and he doesn't have those. And he didn't have the quarterback. As good as Ian Book was, he just didn't have the quarterback. Now that he's left and Marcus Freeman is there, Marcus Freeman has seemingly been able to do that. He is able to get he's able to get the guys up front, offense on defensive line, get the speed on the corners with the receivers and backfield. Jim Love has great speed, and he's things like that, and I have the skill position players. And he seems now that he's got a good quarterback in C.J. Carr, a guy who can beat you from the pocket, although he's a freshman and he's going to make mistakes like he made, Saturday against USC. But there seems to be there, and Marcus Freeman seems to be having that thing, and I think it probably would have helped. Brian Kelly would have some point got there as well because he's a great recruiter and things like that. And you get those kind of athletes, but I think because of those academic standards, he felt like he had gone as far as he could go in Notre Dame, and that's why he went to LSU. Um, but he's finding out really quick that LSU is not is no he's still not it's the SEC is a gauntlet each and every week. Turn around and now with this transfer portal happening and things like that, Vanderbilt is probably also another school that has some high academic standards, but with the transfer portal, they're bringing in guys like Diego Pavia and things like that who are making making this team a better team. And he's finding out that it's just not the same. And he's losing guys in the transfer portal. So that's just how it is. We'll have to wait and see about Brian Kelly. Georgia Tech beat Duke 27 to 18. Michigan beat Washington 24-7. Oklahoma took down South Carolina getting back on track after the loss to Texas 28 26-7. Indiana still going. They beat out Michigan State 38-13. Georgia had a tremendous comeback on Ole Miss, 43-35. They continue to work. Ohio State is beating Wisconsin 34-0. Texas Tech, another unbeaten, just like Ole Miss, just like Miami, failed. They fell to Arizona State 26-22. Texas A&M, still undefeated, beat Arkansas 45-42. Virginia beat Washington State 22-20. Oregon took down Rutgers 56-10. Texas beat Kentucky 22-13. South Florida beat Florida Atlantic 48-13. Tennessee third Saturday in October against Alabama. Alabama showed them who's boss 37-20. I just mentioned it just a minute ago. Notre Dame beat USC 34-24. Missouri beat Auburn 23-17. Cincinnati beat Oklahoma State, 49-17, and BYU beat Utah 24-21 to keep BYU undefeated as well. Now, before we talk about Week 5, really quick, I saw something on last night, in college football doing a show, and they were they were doing the college football playoff and what it would look like. Excuse me, what it would look like. Um, using the AP poll, not anything like using the AP poll. So they went 1 through 11, things like that, and Vanderbilt was a part of it. Um, Vanderbilt was part of it. BYU was a part of it. Um, yeah, all these teams were a part of it. 11 teams, and then the 12th team was South Florida because they would be the conference champion of the highest ranked conference champion of the group of 5. Who was left out? 12th team was Notre Dame. Notre Dame was ranked 12th in the AP polls. They would have been left out of the college football playoff. And as a Notre Dame fan, I'm okay with that. Why? Because Notre Dame should not have lost to Texas A&M. Notre Dame should not have lost to Miami, Florida. It just shouldn't have happened. Well, maybe Miami or Florida, but definitely Texas A&M. Goddamn, Tyler Buckner fucked it up for us again. And so, yeah, you lost 2 games. If you lost 2 games, you are going to have a shot. Now they've done what they've needed to do, in the past. And they have beat teams badly, and they had a good showing against USC. Now this is their bye week, and then they come back with their normal Navy game and so many other games, and they have to they have to do what they were doing before, beat those teams 38-7, 50-10, whatever, to try to make sure to show that you are this, and they're gonna need some help from some other teams as well. You know, there's some other teams where some of the other teams can still lose. Ole Miss, like I said, was undefeated. They lost, but they're still in the top, top 11. Maybe Ole Miss can lose a game or two and they could fall out. There are some teams that I don't want to see lose. Like I don't want to see BYU lose. Because it's good to have BYU in it. I don't want to see Georgia Tech lose. They're undefeated. I want to see Georgia Tech in it. I would love to see um, Texas A&M, stay in it. There's a lot of people I want to stay in. So, really, if I had a choice, I would love if like Georgia or Alabama or Ole Miss, maybe if they lose a game, another game or two, and maybe Notre Dame can jump in it. So I would like to see that. But Notre Dame doesn't make the college football playoff. They only have themselves to blame, themselves and Tyler Buckner. That being said, let's look ahead to Week 9 in the college football playoff slate. Not playoff slate, but college football Saturday slate. We have Virginia at UNC. This is going to be another bad loss for Bill Belichick and UNC. South Florida's at Memphis. Again, they need to keep it continued so that they can continue up their ranked 16th, so they can continue to be the highest ranked conference champion. They need to keep going on. This is a big one. Ole Miss and Oklahoma. I think here's the one where this is one of these games that probably says if you win, you're probably in. You just have to keep winning. So if Oklahoma wins, they'll replace Ole Miss. If Ole Miss wins, they'll stay in. Oklahoma will drop down. I think so. This is probably one of those winning your end games. UCLA is at Indiana. Indiana needs to keep it continued themselves. Love the fact that they're the number 2 team in the nation. Love it. Georgia Tech is hosting Syracuse again. They need to keep it going. Go ahead and beat Syracuse as a team that you should beat. Alabama's at South Carolina. The same thing for Alabama. Again, last year they had losses to Vanderbilt and to Oklahoma. And that's why they were out of the college football playoff and should have been out. As well. Illinois is at Washington. This is a strong slate for Illinois. BYU's at Iowa State. Then again, BYU needs to keep it continue as well. Now BYU, they're on the top. They're at the top of the Big 12. Um, but the Big 12 champion gets in. So even if because everybody else is like lost, and everybody else has like at least two losses, BYU is still undefeated. So even if BYU gets a couple losses, they wouldn't make it in anyway because of the conference. Because the conference needs to be in there. This is a sneaky big game. Missouri and Vanderbilt. Missouri is a top great team. I think their only loss is to Alabama, and that was a short loss a couple of weeks ago. Vanderbilt, I think their loss is to only Alabama as well. So I believe you have two one-loss teams here. Let me just check to be sure. Um, uh, well, yeah, I don't know. So it's not showing me anyway. So. Um, But I'm just going to stay there two one-loss teams here, fighting for a spot in the college football playoff, and I would love to see both of those teams in the college football playoff because I'd like to see new teams in it. But um, again, they lost some games and maybe they should have tried to win. So this is again, are you guys upset that the regular season doesn't mean anything? Yes, it does. It means something for Missouri and Vanderbilt because the team here is probably not have no shot of making the college football playoff. Baylor is at Cincinnati. Oklahoma State is at Texas Tech. Texas Tech still has a shot with that one loss. Again, they're part of the Big 12, so they will have a shot to make it there. Texas is at Mississippi State. Wisconsin's at Oregon. Stanford is at Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida needs to keep it continue. And Stanford came off a very interesting game from Saturday against Florida State, where they took down the Nobles in Florida. So that's pretty good. Texas A&M is at LSU. Big game for both of these. This is a big game as well. We just talked about Alabama and Oklahoma for LSU. LSU here is at Texas A&M. Can they beat the Texas and A&M Aggies? If they can't, again, what happens to Brian Kelly? We've got the Paul Bunyan Trophy, Michigan against Michigan State happening. Boston College is at Louisville. Tennessee is at Kentucky. A rivalry long, long, long in the makings. And Houston versus Arizona State. All right, there you have it for the college football slate. Some very interesting games that will determine the look go ahead of the playoffs. Should be very interesting. Now let's go to the National Football. Now it's time for the NFL. Let's take a look back at last week. That's normal. We talked about what's the Thursday night game between the Steelers and the Bengals, which was a tremendous game, the battle of the 40-year-olds. Joe Flacco played tremendously, throwing 3 touchdowns. Um, he had a great time with him and Jamar Chase hooking up. If Joe Flacco plays like that until Joe Burrow can come back, the Bengals are in this division for real. So there is nothing wrong with them. The Bengals, upset the Steelers 33-31. Over in London, we had the Rams beat the Jaguars 35-7. Even without Puka Nacua, they were able to take down the Jaguars. Now, on the other ones, we had the Eagles beating the Vikings 28-22. I have no idea what AJ Brown is doing. I have no idea. It's it's just another pampered diva receiver trope. And I don't know if he's now doing this for his own fun, or if he's really doing this, to try to make a statement or whatever, posting on Instagram all these quotes and things like that. So you never know, but They should be happy. They're winning. They came after losing to the Giants. They come back and they beat the Vikings in Minnesota, 28-22. Uh, like we all thought, the Patriots just beat the shit out of the Titans, 31-13. Um, Mike Vrabel getting his revenge over the Titans. The Panthers beat the Jets 13-6. They finally benched Justin Fields, and it was Tyrod Taylor, even though he was no better. Woody Johnson has said, Justin Fields is garbage. So, it's just really time. It's time. Go ahead and go with Tyrod Taylor. Move Justin Fields to running back and use him there. It's time. It's really time. Justin Fields is not a quarterback. Just not. In a game that I thought would have cost Mike McDaniel his job, although he has still not been fired, the Browns beat the Dolphins 31-6. It was kind of raining and kind of messy, and but still, and even and after what Tua did, kind of throwing the teammates under the bus, he didn't have a great game apparently in their game. So we'll see what he does this week. But Browns beat the Dolphins 31-6. The Bears beat the Saints 26-14. They are at the same record this year that they were last year, 4-2. And we all know that we have, because of the Hail Mary, and then the entire season went down the drain. So let's see what happens this week. They have a team coming off the bye who is even though they've had a horrible record, they're not a horrible team. So we'll have to see about that. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-0. The Raiders only ran 30 plays. Only ran 30 plays. Wow. Interesting. And Patrick Mahomes looked like he's back to being the Patrick Mahomes of old. And he's got weapons. He's got Rasheed Rice. He's got Hollywood Brown. He's got Tyquan Thornton. He's got Xavier Worthy, along with the old fella Travis Kelce. Watch out. They come the Chiefs. On the Colts beat the Chargers 38-24. Again, Jonathan Taylor's running like crazy. 3 more rushing touchdowns. And Daniel Jones is playing the best ball he's ever played. He's tremendous as well. Good on them. The Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. 33 points in the fourth quarter to come back from a 19-0 deficit. And they beat the Giants 33-32. The kicker for the Giants did miss an extra point, but there was a lot of other things in that game that probably cost the Giants the game. It's not like the Texas A&M game with Notre Dame where the loss was on Tyler Buckner. This was not on the kicker. Kicker was a part of the problem, but wasn't the whole problem. Uh, and the Broncos came back, tremendous game, 33-32. Packers beat the Cardinals. They came back down from not as big as Broncos, but they did make a comeback in the game. They beat the Cardinals 27-23. Cowboys took down the Commanders 44-22. Jaden Daniels hurt his hamstring. We'll have to see what happened with him. Some people were worried that because of Jaden Daniels' frame, that he would maybe, be hurt a lot. There was worrisome about that with Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson has been hurt a lot. And now we've got Jaden Daniels, and this is Jaden Daniels' second injury this year. We'll have to see how it goes. I think that when you have like Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson and many other, when it comes down to it, all of the quarterbacks, they shouldn't be running as much as they should be. They really shouldn't learn to play the position of quarterback, and some of them can play the position of quarterback. Josh Allen, Russell can play the position of quarterback from the pocket. We know Patrick Mahomes can. I think Jaden Daniels can too. I think Jalen Hurts can. Um, I'm starting to come around on Lamar Jackson being able to play the game from the pocket. Um, and there's many others as well. And your athleticism shouldn't be, you just should not rely on it. Caleb Williams, learn to play the position from the pocket, and when you are able to do that, you know, And then when you need to, use your skills and run, slide, slide. I'm okay, going head first and trying to get the first down when you need to. I talked about, you know, years ago about the Super Bowl on fourth down. What's his face? Um, Patrick Mahomes ran the read option. Said and that's when Patrick Mahomes should run the read option. It's the only time he should run is on the fourth down to trick the defense. Yeah, don't do it when you need to do it then. Stop just running and running and get down. Go get out of bounds. I think that's what Jane Daniels need to have to do. The 49ers beat the Falcons. This was 49 football, wasn't it? Just get the ball to McCaffrey and get the fuck out of the way. Yes, he did a great job. Uh, 49ers 20, Falcons 10. Then Michael Penix Jr. was a little bit banged up in that game. We'll see what happens this week. Someone who was obviously banged up was Mike Evans. In the Monday Night Football game, the first one, broke his collarbone, and he will be out for several months, and maybe even the entire season. And it would cost him his streak of 11 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards receiving. Only him and Jerry Rice have done it. Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer, truly amazing, and it's sorry to see him go down with another injury. As for the game, the Lions beat the Lions. They lose, they come back, and they just, bludgeon you to death. 24-9, the Lions over the Buccaneers, and the Seahawks beat the Texans 27-19 in a very weird game. A lot of, it was going on as the same as the Mariners Blue Jays game 7. And at one point during the game, I guess they told everybody what happened, and they started booing and making noise, and it was just pretty weird. And then there was stuff going on. Jackson Smith and Jigma was on the sideline, and he was getting beat up by the referee had to come in and save him. And there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So, but the Seahawks got the victory. They took it to 27-19. As for going for this week, excuse me, I had to take a sip of water. But this week we've got the Vikings taking down the Chargers. Take on the Chargers and taking down the Chargers. Um, it's probably going to be Carson Wentz's last game, and then the next game, I think they're going to go back to JJ. And the Chargers, coming off of that loss, they need to get back even continue. Both teams need this win to stay to stay in the playoff chase, and so that they can try to have a legitimate shot of making the playoffs. On to Sunday's action, no London game, so that's good. We start with the Dolphins at the Falcons. This should be a pretty easy one for the Falcons. Um, and that's even if Penix is hurt, we still get Kirk Cousins as the backup, so we got that. The Ravens host the Bears, and this is where it gets interesting because I think most of their injured players will be back. We don't know about Lamar. Today's the big day. We will find out if Lamar has a great chance to be back. Now, Jim Harbaugh said that he was, but you never know. So, and the Bears have been playing some tremendous defense. Even without Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are a better team, but the Bears have a little bit of confidence. So we'll see what the Bears do when it comes to the Ravens and see how Lamar Jackson plays. The Jets are at the Bengals. The Bengals here should not be. They just should not be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they put back Justin Fields. It doesn't matter if they have Tyrod Taylor. It doesn't matter if they put in Joe Flo. The Bengals should destroy the New York Jets here. And again, I was saying this all the time. If this is a close game in the fourth quarter, shame on the Bengals. Because the Bengals should destroy the New York Jets. They're god awful. The Bills are at the Panthers. They had 2 consecutive losses to the Bills in the bye week. So hopefully they got their shit together. And they found out what they need to do. And they're taking on the Panthers, who was a scrappy team. But you're the Bills. You're better than them, and you should be, and you should beat them pretty easily, I think. 49ers are at the Texans. We'll see if Brock Purdy plays or if it's still Mac Jones. But I think they've got a healthy Christian McCaffrey, healthy George Kittle. They know what to do, and I think whatever they do, they can do it to beat the Texans. The Browns are at the Patriots. Patriots here. They do what you need to do. Keep it continue with the Browns. This one's going to be very interesting. The Giants are at the Eagles. Are the Eagles going to try to come back and just destroy the Giants for what they did to them on Thursday night? Can the Giants overcome that traumatic loss to the Broncos this past Sunday and try to go into Philly and make a stand? We will see. You know, if I was going to bet this, I would probably bet the Eagles and the points because I think they are going to be out for blood. The Buccaneers will be at the Saints again, even without their injured players. The Buccaneers should, we've seen that that the Saints are a scrappy team, but they're just young right now in mainly the main position, the quarterback position. Spencer Rattler is in the second year, and Tyler Shuck, the rookie, is a rookie. So Titans are at the Colts again. Titans are ass, as Cam Ward would say, and the Colts are not ass. So this should be an easy victory for the Colts. The Cowboys are at the Broncos. This is going to be a fun one to watch. That offense against that defense, what it's going to be, should be pretty good. The Packers are at the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I would like to see them be at Green Bay, but they're going to be in Steelers and they're going to play. Aaron Rodgers is going to play his old team, his old coach. Should be fun. He's going to try to put them into the ground, but Packers are a better team than that, and I think this one could go down to the wire. And on Monday Night Football, the Commanders and the Chiefs just look like to be a marquee matchup. But without Gene Daniels, I think this is going to be another easy victory for the Chiefs. I don't know if the Commanders are just going to run 30 plays, but I would expect the Chiefs are going to be putting points on the board like crazy. All right, so there you have it. The look ahead to Week 8 of the National Football League. And let's go ahead and let's wrap this puppy up. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this. I truly appreciate it. Wherever you're listening at this, whether it's on Spotify, it's on any of the other podcasting places, it was on listening on YouTube. I thank you guys so much for listening to this. I appreciate it so much. If you want to support this podcast and this creator, please go to patreon.com/AJTRIP, become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you see on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP. Make sure you go and subscribe. Video games I play on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. Make sure you go there and you follow and subscribe. Or what you want me to talk about on my other podcast, The Word According to Me. You can find those you can find that podcast at any of your favorite podcasting places as well. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy, AJ Trip, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.